We're back in England. The season is over, but it is not the end of the Keeping Goals episode, of course not. Starting with today's video, because today's video is a season review. They actually just have announced the Goalkeeper of the Year for Etan. Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, another episode of Keeping Goals, but this time from somewhere slightly different. We're no longer in Sweden, as you can see, no longer in the frozen north. We're back in England, back home in the northwest, in Macclesfield, because the season is over. The 2021 season with PTAF in the Etan Norra is completed. It's done. I'm back home. That's the end of the football. But it is not the end of the Keeping Goals episode, of course not. We've got plenty more to talk about, plenty more to get through, starting with today's video, because today's video is a season review of the 2021 season. How did I do personally? How did we do as a team? How did I compare to the goals that I set myself at the beginning of the season? And we're also going to be starting some off-season training, which I know you guys enjoy. So if you do enjoy today's video, please hit that like button underneath. It helps us out loads. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and come and join the Keeping Goals Union. So last Sunday I put up the season highlights video from the season. So you've seen a lot of the saves, a lot of the key actions that happened during 2021. But the last time that I spoke to you was after the game against Sylvia, which was our penultimate game, our last away game. A game which we won 3-1 and a game which ultimately was my last game of the season. Our final game was at home against league champions Bromma. As you guys might remember from the Sylvia game, it was a pretty intense game with a lot of big hits, and unfortunately I picked up a little injury at the end of that match, and it was decided as a precaution not to risk it in that final game against Bromma. So I sat out freezing cold game against Bromma. Unfortunately we lost 3-1 in that final game of the season. Going into that game, we were in 8th place, top half of the table just, and it was very, very close in and around it. As you can see from the table, the other teams going into that final match. But for us as a club, I've said many times, we were favourites to get relegated from the Etan Norra. So to finish in the top half would have been massive for the club. That was what we were aiming for. And although we did lose that game against Bromma 3-1, we did, based on the other results, end up finishing in 8th place. A top half finish for the team, which was a huge achievement. But as ever, with the final game of the season, you have that feeling of pride that you've achieved something as a team. But there's also a little bit of sadness. You know that it's come to an end. You know that next season, a lot of people might be in different places, and it might be the final time that you're all together as a group in that changing room. So we had some time after the game, laughing, joking, telling stories of the season. And then it's the off-season. Everyone goes their separate ways. The proper winter arrived in Peterborough pretty shortly afterwards. It was getting down to -15, -17, -20 degrees. But it is a beautiful place in the world, especially during the winter when the snow's down. So me and Frankie took some walks around the town, tried to take in as much as we could before we were set to leave for home. It was nice to have that final week just to explore. We went bowling, pretty suspect bowling, as you'll see. I believe in.
Oh.
And then a week after the last game, we had the end of season meal with all the players, all the staff, all the club directors and their families, which again was a really nice evening to have that time to reflect on the season as a group. But of course, sadness, not knowing where everyone's going to end up, not knowing if we're all going to be back in the same place, knowing that the off-season will bring change, which it always does wherever you play your football. But then it was time to fly home, back to England, back to Manchester Airport, back to Macclesfield. A lot warmer than it was in Peterborough, that's for sure. But really nice to get back and see the family, who I haven't seen since January. It's been a very, very long year. But enough of that, let's get to the season review. So at the beginning of every season, right here in my football diary, I write down the goals that I want to achieve in that season. This is the book where I analyse every game. So then at the end of the season, obviously, I can collect all that data, I can reflect on it all, and we can see whether we hit the goals that we set at the beginning. Now, when setting goals, a good framework is to have SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and within a time frame. And as a goalkeeper, some of the goals that we set, we have varying levels of control over. Things like whether your team finishes in the league, what position, how many points, how many wins. You don't have a lot of control over those goals. Of course, it's good to set them, good to have them as motivation, but you don't want all your goals to be that type of goal. Compare that with goals like save percentage, pass percentage. Those are goals which are very individual to you and you have complete control over. They are important to have. You can really measure yourself and your progress over time by using that type of goal. So my goals that we're going to look back on are varying within that spectrum of control. So the first goal was to keep 10 clean sheets. Unfortunately, we finished on 8 clean sheets, but 10 was more than achievable. I think back to games against Sollentuna away, Asariska away, Sylvia at home, all these games where we conceded 1 goal and it should have been a clean sheet. As a goalkeeper, clean sheets are great, but again, you don't have full control over it. You could have a brilliant game and concede 4 or 5. So it's a good target to have, but it's not something you should obsess over. And 8 clean sheets is a good achievement. The defence did very well this season. They were a big part of our success. And with 8 clean sheets, I actually came second in the league for clean sheets, behind only the goalkeeper at Bromma Olsen, and they finished as league champions. So of course, congratulations to them. And if you can't finish first, you better finish second. So can't be too disappointed with that. The next goal, and the next in this bracket of not entirely in my control, was I wanted to finish the season as the best goalkeeper in the Etan Nora. Now at this point, there haven't been any official votes or any official prizes for best goalkeeper. Apologies for interrupting, but as I'm editing the video, they actually just have announced the goalkeeper of the year for Etan. Unfortunately, I did not win, but as you can see from the little video, I was nominated. I was in the top 4, and this is goalkeeper of the year for the whole of Etan. So Etan North, the league that I played in, and also Etan South. So nominated from the Etan Nora, which was our league, was myself and Jonas Olsson from Bromma, and nominated from the Etan South was Anton Andersson and Emir Plakalo. Jonas Olsson was the winner and very deserved given how many clean sheets they kept at Bromma, how great a season they had, winning promotion to Super Etan. So a big congratulations obviously to Jonas on a great season and the other guys that were nominated. So although I didn't quite achieve the goal, it shows that it's helped to motivate and encourage me to perform at that level across the full season, which is exactly what goals like that are for. And I'm very pleased that the quality of my work and the quality of my performances means that I could be considered and nominated for something like that. And it's a nice way to finish off as well after what I think has probably been my best season of my career so far. And of course, we'll be working to make next season even better. But anyway, back to the video. Now the next set of goals are a lot more within my control. Next we have, I wanted to play every single game in the league, 30 out of 30. And I was very, very close. 29 out of 30, just missing that final game, as I said. But still, a very good collection of games and a good amount of work throughout the season. The next goal I had, I wanted to save a penalty. As I've mentioned before coming to Petia, penalty saving was a big part of my game. I was on about 40% success rate. Last season, I didn't save a single one, conceding 4 out of 4. So I was on a bad run. But as you guys might remember, I saved one against Gevler away. Unfortunately, they scored the rebound, but I'm taking that as a penalty save. I can tick that off. Next we have save percentage. Now, my goal for the save percentage this season was to try and hit 80%. Now, Etan, the league, is covered by a statistical analysis company. Unfortunately, I can't share those results with you, but I can share what I recorded from watching every single game and recording every shot that was on target, whether I saved it or whether it went in. And this season, I saved 132 shots from 174, leaving my save percentage at 75.86%. Not quite the 80% we were aiming for, but still a very good and a very high save percentage. But again, good motivation for next season to try and break through that 80% barrier. So those were the goals I set, those were how I compare, and that was the season review. It's always good to use the end of the season to reflect on the work. Watch it back, learn from it, assess how you did, rest and recover, and then prepare to do it all over again. Anyway, enough talking, time to get in a little bit of training. I'm gonna go in the garden, I'm gonna do a very, very light session. I'll show you it, of course, and then afterwards, I've got a little something for you as well. So, let's go train. that's the session done. Very, very light stuff at the minute. Not doing too much. Focusing on resting, recovering. So just doing stretching, prehab exercises, and a little bit of conditioning on the bike, but nothing heavy. That'll be the plan for training for the next few days, and then we will start to plan the off season, build back up into it. And of course, I'll show you guys all of that process and bring you along for it. Anyway, something pretty cool to finish today's vlog with. We've got a giveaway. It's the end of the season. We like to do giveaways on the channel at the end of the season. So we have 2 pairs of Callia gloves to give away. We have some AER XT gloves in a very bright orange, and we have some Powerlight 3DXi gloves as well. 2 pairs of gloves to give away. All you have to do, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also leave a comment. Let me know your favourite moment from the 2021 Etan season. We will pick 2 winners. We will send you the gloves. They're brand new. The plastic isn't even off the palms, so you can have the pleasure of peeling that off yourself. But as I say, to be in with a chance, we will pick 2 winners. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below your favourite moment from the 2021 season. This week's patron of the week is David Stevenson. David, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting the channel. We wouldn't be able to make these videos without patrons, so a massive thank you. But I will see you next Sunday for the next episode of Keeping Goals. Have a great week, guys. Look after yourselves. Keep chasing improvement as always, and I'll speak to you in a bit.